because I refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncer's guilt ring.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day.
Joshua Buatsi announced that he'll be joining with Boxer and Sky Sports on a deal. Obviously, he's left Matchroom and Dazn. So I want to start with that. Just a quote from himself. He said, "This is Joshua Buatsi. I want people to say we know what channel to turn to. I'm not going to tell you to download an app to type in your email. My last fight, I asked myself how many watched it. I don't think a lot of people saw it." What do you make of that statement from Joshua Buatsi?
Well, you know, boxing is about conflict, isn't it? It's the fight industry. So you have in one corner one guy and in another corner his opponent, and vice versa. Now, Joshua Buatsi, I believe, if I'm right in thinking, he's been with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, and I'm not sure if he's still with 258.
No, he left 258 as well.
He left 258 as well, yeah. Since his Olympic career, for the last 7 years.
Yeah.
And it's been a fruitful relationship. He's moved slowly, but he hasn't made any major mistakes. He's still a phenomenal fighter. He's not a man naturally predisposed to be in a hurry over things, nor in his fights. But he's a brilliant fighter. He's the perfect size and temperament for light heavyweight, 175 pounds. I believe he's world class. Whether he's elite level, I don't know yet, but he will certainly challenge for world honours at some point. Well, I think he's stating, if you really look at it in the cold light of day, most people will read that perhaps as a dig at Eddie Hearn and Dazn and Matchroom for maybe not providing him with what he wanted. I don't know, but it's not just a dig. There's fact in what the Sky Sports machine can do, what Sky Sports box office. Look what it did for Anthony Joshua. Not that he didn't do for himself. And conversely, it's going to be fascinating to see how Anthony Joshua does on the DAZN platform per se. Even his last fight was nicked by Sky, wasn't it? On there for the Sky box office, even though he signed a new deal with DAZN. And that's just business. That came down to business in the end. Look, I think he's just saying I'm happy to be on a platform that is very powerful. But that, I mean, look at last weekend, for example. Paris, we don't have it very often. Sky Boxer went head-to-head in Paris with the DAZN boxing show in Liverpool, headlined by Diego Pacheco, a Mexican-American. So I think he's Mexican-American. And a brilliant young fighter. But we didn't get that very often. There used to be a kind of maybe an unwritten agreement, if you like, a bilateral agreement, which was unwritten, that promoters wouldn't put big shows on the same night. They were decent-sized shows. But I think he's just stating the obvious. He's looking forward to he's just declaring, I think I'm now moving to a bigger platform. I mean, it's a platform that Dan Aziz is on, obviously, who won well in Paris last weekend in a pretty interesting fight. That's a terrific fight, Aziz and Buatsi, if they get that on next or not. I don't know. I haven't seen the responses to what he said today. Are people thinking that he's having a sharp dig at DAZN and Eddie?
Well, I think, maybe Joshua Buatsi's having a bit of a pop back because a couple of days ago, Eddie Hearn revealed that Joshua Buatsi turned down £1 million to fight Dimitri Bivol. So Buatsi's come out and said, that was true. I was offered £1 million to fight Dimitri Bivol, but there was caveats on top of that, i.e. you got to stay with Matchroom and DAZN for a certain number of fights after that. So there's, both arguments from them. Is it the right platform to join, Gareth? I asked that. I know you said Dan Aziz is on Sky Sports. That would be a fight for the European title, 2 Brits. But if you look at DAZN and Matchroom, they've got Dimitri Bivol there. If you look at BT Sport, they've got Anthony Yard there, a fight that we've craved for ages with Buatsi and Yard. Has he made the right move, JB?
yeah, he's made the right move for himself. And, you know, I think Eddie Hearn's right to. I did discuss that actually. I do recall. I think I discussed it on Talk Sport, the Bivol offer a couple of days ago, potentially with my colleague on there. I think that's what I just said to you. That Joshua Buatsi is not a man in a hurry. He's definitely playing the long game, and the business deal didn't suit him. You know, it's incredible that he's able to have the self-belief to turn that down and go elsewhere. And he's probably got an amazing signing fee with Sky and Boxer. So good luck to him, is what I say. He could have gone to. Look, we shouldn't even be talking like that. He could have gone to BT, or he could. They should be making these fights cross-promotionally anyway. We shouldn't even be accepting that. And tacitly, you do, because that's what happens in boxing, like I do. And when you look at it in the cold light of day, that shouldn't be happening. You know? I spoke to Lyndon Arthur today, as it happens, for a terrific chat with an amazing guy. I've got so much time for Lyndon. Transformational character. I was just saying that it's extraordinary because none of them are trash talkers. None of our British light heavyweights, and there's 5, 6 of them who could make a series themselves. They never trash talk. No. Callum Smith, Dan Aziz, Joshua Buatsi, Anthony Yard, Lyndon Arthur, Craig Richards. They're all such brilliant examples of what boxers can and perhaps should be. But I'd love to see, as I said to Lyndon, I'd love to see you all in a Shark Tank, you know, like all having a go at each other, you know, or in a series. But it is what it is. Good luck to him, I say. Joshua, I'd like to see Joshua Buatsi's career move on with a little bit of alacrity, a little bit more speed. But again, he's with Virgil Hunter, who doesn't rush his fighters either. And, you know, now Buatsi's still there. He's still there in his own lane, doing what he does very, very well. Going to church on a Sunday, training, living a good life. The best is yet to come with him.
Refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncer's guilt ring.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day,